Hey guys, it's Laura. Welcome back to my channel. And before you even say it, I know, long time no makeup video. I had been experimenting here and there, touching all the bases, trying to find all the content types that suit me. And though a lot of them have been really interactive, I rather just stick to what I enjoy, which is makeup content, lifestyle content, and vlogs. Because if I'm not able to enjoy and binge watch my own videos, what's the point? So I'm back with another makeup video. Honestly, doing makeup, watching makeup, and creating makeup content are all so satisfying and therapeutic to me. I love how there's no one way to do something and there's always something new to learn. That's why it's always very interesting to me when people meet me and ask if I'm a makeup educator because they want to learn. I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like, wait, I'm still learning, but shall bring money. I'm just joking, the joy of makeup can't shall distract someone from the struggles of being a small makeup artist in Nigeria. There is no sugarcoating here, and if you have any advice for me, my comment section is wide open. Having a large and loyal clientele is something I have struggled with right from the beginning of my makeup journey up until now. I am so passionate about having my own community, and it's almost impossible to do that when you don't have a loyal clientele. Having these clients is one aspect, using high end products on them is another. Extremely high end products are so expensive. But the thing is, mixing and matching these very high end products, like all them Fenty, Laura Mercier, and co, with our lovely, affordable Nigerian brands like Nuban Beauty, Zikel, Zaron, is actually very important. I'm honestly so proud of the Nigerian beauty scene because though these products are very affordable, they give luxury and more. The Nigerian beauty scene and even the general beauty scene and changing trends are literally like five and six. Today you will hear fox eye, tomorrow you will hear siren eye, today you will hear soap brows, tomorrow you will hear block brows, today you will hear clean girl makeup look, tomorrow you will hear whatnot. If it wasn't so fun, it would be so overwhelming. And as a growing makeup artist, you have to keep up with these trends and find how to incorporate them in your work. Consistency is so important as a growing makeup artist, but so hard. I was struggling with this honestly, but it gets much easier. That's something I can vouch for. What I try to do is, even when I am not booked by a client, I try to collaborate or work with a model because I've learned that there's actually no room for idleness. I'm sure every makeup artist, both the grown, cannot relate to the struggle of experiencing low paying clients. The ones that always want to remove 1K, 1.5, 2K from your fee and ask ridiculous questions. I understand that everyone wants to get a good deal, but come on, let's respect each other and make magic, bro. It is so hard to market yourself, my goodness. But as a growing makeup artist, if you can't market yourself first, nobody's actually going to market you. Creating content, posting the content, being active on social media, showcasing your work on Instagram. Honestly, Instagram should be a growing makeup artist's platform and portfolio. Most people actually find makeup artists that they want to patronize from Instagram. So Instagram has to be popping at all times. Competition. Finally, competition. That is honestly the baba of them all. Almost every Tom, Dick, and Harry is a makeup artist, and more is really very daunting. As a small makeup artist, you can't escape overthinking how you're going to compete with these makeup artists or these makeup brands that have been in the business for way longer than you. You don't want your makeup journey to be ephemeral, but it's also nerve wracking to think about. For this particular one, God help us. I, however, believe that we just need to find what sets us apart from other makeup artists. And once we find that and we stick with that and stay true to that, clients will be able to tell, prospective clients, future clients will be able to tell, and hopefully it will ensure client retention. Those are the things I have been struggling with as a small makeup artist in Nigeria. So now let's get into the glam. I decided to create a pretty bright look for my muse over here. My beautiful muse. Her bone structure is everything. I'm sure makeup artists can relate. So after shaping her brows a bit, just cleaning up the little hairs around it, I cleaned her face, moisturized her face, hydrated her face, primed, and I went straight into foundation. I contoured her cheek, her forehead, and her nose, a very light contour on her forehead. I mixed a peachy blush shade with a reddish blush shade to add the perfect amount of color to her cheeks without making her look clowny or without it being washed off by her concealer. So after I had placed the blush, blended it and all, I went straight into concealer, concealed her under eyes, her chin, under her nose, her forehead, and I just started blending it all. So this is me blending her nose and going straight into her forehead, making sure everything is well perfectly blended. I always try to take my time when blending concealer. I think that is the step I take the longest time, because if the concealer isn't well blended or if it's cracked or if it has caked, then you're going to set it in place and there's no way it's going to give the clean airbrushed look that we're all going for. So now I'm just setting her under eyes with a translucent powder, making sure to press it in properly so there isn't any space. And I'm going over to the other side and equally setting it in, pressing it in, not dragging but rather pressing. And now I am just buffing out the powder with a compact powder. I prefer to do this using a dense brush because it grabs enough product and you're able to apply as much product as you need. I'm doing the same to her under eyes, her cheeks, the other under eye, her nose, and I'm adding a slight bronzer shade to her forehead just to deepen that contour a bit. I added the same shade to her cheeks also to blend in the blush with the rest of the face so it's not looking patchy and the blush is not looking separate from the rest of her face. At this point, she was just feeling herself, and I went straight into contouring her nose. I didn't really do much because she already has a very well chiseled small nose, so I just added a light bronzer shade to her nose and I blended it into the concealer. I always try to start my contour from the front of the eyebrows so that it casts enough shadow to the nose, the part you're trying to contour, and it doesn't look separate, like the nose does not look separate, it flows perfectly with the rest of the face. And now I'm just buffing it out, making sure there's no excess powder on her nose. So at this point I am contouring her nose, reverse contouring her nose with powder, and I'm using a translucent shade. I love using translucent shades a lot because it's easier to use a translucent shade than it's better to use it rather to use a translucent shade than wrong powder shade, because once you use the wrong powder shade it's very hard to fix that, but once you use a translucent shade any color powder can sit on top of it and it just blends seamlessly into the skin. So I am contouring her nose with the powder and adding that to under her nose, her under eyes. I'm just making sure the amount of powder is perfect everywhere, not in a situation whereby there would be a lot of powder on one side and then the other side there isn't enough powder. So I tried to grab as much powder as I did when I first started. I love laying the powder at the end of the eyes under the eye like this because it helps to catch whatever fallout comes from eyeshadow if you're doing a pigmented eyeshadow color, and you can now just brush it off with a brush and skin color powder. So now I'm doing my reverse contour on her cheeks. She has really high cheekbones, so that was the easiest thing to do. And I'm just adding some translucent powder to under her lips. I'm gelling her brows up and I'm going to set it with some powder before I go straight into lining and filling her brows. I did one side, so I have gone to do the same on the other side. I just use normal hair wax. I don't use anything fancy. And honestly, it does the job perfectly well. The brows would not move. I promise you, it would not move. I'm using the tail of the brush to just press it in perfectly so that the gel would have reached and touched every single hair. So now I'm using a translucent powder to set the brows so that it would get rid of all that oil and shine, so that when I am using my brow gel, it wouldn't shift, it wouldn't make it look blotchy. I'm starting with her under her eyebrows, lining it with my brow gel, and I'm just trying to follow her natural eyebrow shape because once you follow the normal eyebrow shape, it suits the face better. I'm using a pretty dark brown shade and my flat brush. So now I'm lining the top of her brow, and I'm going to connect the bottom line and the top line at the tail. I'm just drawing the tail and I'm going straight into doing the other side. I try to do it like this so that it all be as symmetrical as possible. So now I'm using my very sharp brow pencil to fill in hairline strokes in her brows. Doing the same for the other side, trying to make everything look as natural and as cohesive as possible. I don't want to make the brows look very thick, but I want it to still have that sort of feathery look because I absolutely fell in love with that look and I have been doing it for quite a while now. So that's what I'm trying to replicate on her. I'm following the exact hairline strokes she has, and I'm just drawing it upward, tiny strokes. I had to pause after like a few strokes and sharpen my pencil because your pencil has to be very, very sharp. Once those strokes are not looking like hairline strokes anymore, it starts looking like block brows, and we left block brows in 2016. I'm just taking my time to fill in each hair on each brow, and any spaces I'm seeing, I'm just going over it again. So now one brow is perfectly filled, and I'm going over to the other side. I filled in the front of the brows first so that it would have the lighter strokes and the sharper strokes, and I was done. I'm so sorry I didn't record doing the eyeshadow because of a technical difficulty, but we're back and I'm done with her eyeshadow. I just did a light pink small cut crease, and now I'm just dusting off the powder and setting her face. I always try to saturate the face with setting spray. Now I'm going straight into lining her waterline, and I decided to do this after setting her face because I ran into an incident a while back whereby after I had lined their waterline and I set their face and they blinked really hard and everything just smudged, and I had to redo the under eye. So experience makes us tougher. We're not going to go through that today. So I lined her waterline and I brought it up a bit so that it looks like everywhere is lined, there isn't any empty space. And I applied some mascara on her already really long lashes. This is just to darken it up a bit in case any foundation or powder got on her lashes in the process of the makeup, so that it wouldn't look different from the falsies when I put them on her. So I lined the top of her lashes one side and I went to the other side. I didn't line the bottom because I felt like there wasn't really any need for this particular look we were going for. So now I'm fixing the lashes. I just let the glue get a little tacky, and now I'm putting it on her lash line or a little slightly above her lash line, and I'm just pressing it in, making sure it adheres properly because we don't want it moving or being blown away by the wind. Now I'm just doing the same for the other side, and the lashes are fixed. They look so good. I went straight into lining her lips. I decided to do a pretty nude color lip combo on her lips. I lined it with a very dark lip liner, very dark brown lip liner, and I'm just following the shape of her lips. I overlined it slightly a little bit because her top lip is very much smaller than her bottom lip, and for the particular look I had in mind, I wanted them to be looking like the same size. So I overlined the top lip a bit and I lined the bottom lip exactly how it is. So I went in with this nude shade. This is my favorite nude shade. So I'm applying it to the bottom of her lips, the top of her lips, and I blended it out with my brush and my lip applicator. We have to take our time with lips because we don't want any harsh lines. We don't want anything looking off. And she decided she didn't want lip gloss, even though I am a lip gloss girl, but I had to respect what she wanted. And I think it actually works because the eyes are now the major source of attraction on her face. I applied a slight highlighter on her face, her cheeks, her nose, her forehead, below her lips, on her cupid's bow. And this is the final look. I love it so much. Absolutely slayed. Don't you think so? I love it. I decided to shoot it in dark lighting, and the highlighter was highlighting. Okay, hopefully when I'm watching this video a year from now, all those struggles would have been eliminated. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.